What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is a video review of the Nerf Accustrike Raptorstrike. The Raptorstrike is a spring-powered, magazine-fed blaster in the Accustrike line, which features the Accustrike or more precise darts. Included is the blaster itself with one magazine installed, one bonus, so 2 total mags, the bipod, a few Accustrike darts, the bolt handle, and the instructions. Now to the externals and the function in a bit more detail, starting up at the front. Up top is a fancy circular front iron sight, sort of like the Alpha Hawk from the Accustrike line. And below that is a front sling mount. This whole barrel area, it looks really cool, and it even has little speed holes or venting exhaust holes or whatever. But it's just for the looks. There's not even a faux barrel through there. Those generally only hurt performance, so it's nice that it's just not even there. Behind that is an Accustrike tactical rail, primarily intended for the bipod, since that would be a pretty gangster scope location, but maybe a tac light, whatever. This is totally the sniper rifle appearance, so you gotta have a bipod for the extra stability. And this is a new bipod included with the blaster. Folding arms, which isn't new, but this one has feet that expand with a little button. They're not spring-loaded like a Harris bipod, so you have to pull it out. And they're so light that it doesn't reliably come out with gravity. It's like the first time you ever saw a crossbow. The legs have been giving me a little bit of trouble, and it happens to lock up on me right when I say that. But it's a cool feature, and it also allows you to set the blaster really, really low compared to the other slightly larger bipods. So that's pretty cool, and it attaches to that bottom rail. Up top is a little access door. If you have any jams or malfunctions, you can open it, get your finger in there, and clear them out. Fired this blaster a few hundred times for my standard review procedure and didn't have any jams or malfunctions. But if you use crummy darts, eventually you probably will jam it because it's a Springer. It's not a Flywheel Master Race comment, just a comment. Flywheel Master Race, yeah! And down below that is the magazine and the magazine well. To get to it, you pull the bolt back, and the magazine release is in the trigger guard right here, which they just did in the regulator, and I personally just don't like this. I think it's uncomfortable, but it works. And it's a really simple, clean, sleek way to do it in an ambi mag release. Comes with 2 magazines, and they are a little different. They are Accustrike like standard magazines, so the blaster is compatible with other magazines, and you can put this magazine in other blasters, of course. 6 dart capacity, one side's clear, one side's white, and it has the tactical slant right here, which corresponds with the shell lines for the bonus tactics. Style points. Woo! Then back to the bolt. It protrudes from both sides, so if you're right or left-handed, or you're doing some like AK priming nonsense with your offhand, it'll work just fine. It has a smooth prime, what you'd expect from this type of blaster. Moving back to this thing, it's kind of like a carry handle on the bottom. I'm not sure if they intended it to be like that, but I've been carrying it around my studio like this, and it's a really comfortable handle. It happens to be right in the center of gravity, so it's just a great place to hold it. Then moving back to this goofy thing, this is a flip-up rear sight, so when you push the little button, it flips up. So the other time you saw a crossbow, you're just like, whoa, oh. The rear sight is clear plastic, and it's not magnifying or anything, but there's this level of distortion that they've used before on like scopes. Can't remember which scope it was, but they intentionally distorted the clear plastic, and I got a bunch of comments on that review from viewers saying, no, Coop, you're wrong. It is magnifying. It's not actually magnifying. It's just distorting. There's a big difference, a very important difference. But this rear sight is kind of odd. The triangles are only on the side, so you can sort of align elevation, but there's no center marker, so to align like your left-right accuracy is super vague. Like there's not just like a pinpoint or even just a line segment right up the center there. I don't really use sights anyways, but this type of blaster based around precision in the Accustrike line should really be based on, you know, an actual sight that works, or would in theory work. But oh man, you can just add your own scope to the top tactical rail. Oh no, you can't, because there's no rail on the top. What kind of sniper rifle can't have a scope? I just need to use this grenade launcher style sight? What the F, David Blaine? This isn't the type of thing that Hasbro would forget to add, so there must have been a reason other than to just force us into this. Feels like a Microsoft update when everybody's like, no, don't change anything. This is why we have Vista. Just stop. It's fine. Don't change it. They're like, no man, this is better. We don't need a rail. This is better. You can't use that other thing. This is better. They need to start open sourcing this stuff. Oh, 3D printers. People are making their own Nerf blasters. Getting too far off topic, but I'm not joking about there not being any Accustrike tactical rails. Like the Rebel series kind of is based around the sleekness, the round lines, so a lot of their blasters just don't have it on the top, but this has a bottom rail for the bipod. And the Accustrike Alpha Hawk, the little brother of this has a top rail for your tactical scope, but the new one doesn't. I'm sure there's an explanation, but I just don't understand it. Like, but enough of that until my opinion. So down to the bottom here, the primary trigger works just like any other spring trigger would. Obviously doesn't have slam fire, and the other trigger in here is again the magazine release. They did this mag release within the trigger guard for the regulator, and I said I didn't like it, and I don't like this one. This one is not as uncomfortable as the regulators because that's just more cramped. There is more space here, but it's just kind of weird feeling. Down to the grip, now I just have to say, this is such a cool looking grip, and I know this whole blaster is just super cool, but this grip is just so cool. It's badass, man. Comfort-wise, as far as thumbhole stock stocks go, it's comfortable, it's large. I complain about this stuff all the time, but it's comfortable. And this hand protector for those occasional melees when you're trying to smack Zammy in the face is not too cramping either. So enough space for my hands, and honestly, this is a good example of the swag points or the style points would totally outweigh any discomfort because it just looks so cool. Enough of that, but down here there's another sling mount to correspond to the front one. Worth noting that is the rearmost sling mount unless you want to like just stick it into a hole, or it is important which hole you put it in though, so this is the actual sling mount. Right up above the grip is also a priming indicator, which turns green when you prime it, and when you press the trigger, it releases. The theory is the same as other priming indicators, but it's worth noting it's not quite as clear. Like the long shot was red, black, and it was just so obvious when it's primed and when it's not. It's a little bit more ambiguous. Comes with 2 mags again, and it holds the other one just back here. They've used this feature before, and I like it. It fits in there, and it just makes it look way cooler as well. And the retention mech works fine for this lightweight 6-round magazine, but with a drum or something, it does fall out pretty easily. And that's not really a complaint, because if it's strong enough to hold that drum, then you're really gonna have to be tugging on it to get it out of there for the little 6-round mag. You're not going to be using a drum with your Super Elite sniper rifle, although you're going to need one because you don't have a scope to hit anything. So, and again, it's super cool looking stock. It just looks like awesome, but there are no other buttons or like anything else. So boom, overview done. Again, operation of the blaster is just like other springers. Pull back the bolt, load up your magazine, stick it on in there, and pew pew. Accustrike darts. A little faster now. And a few elite darts for comparison. Even at this range, you can see him go woo! So the Raptorstrike works how you'd expect it to work. The priming is smooth, it didn't jam or malfunction, and I shot it a few hundred times. Precision out of the Accustrike darts, of course, is higher than that of the Elite darts. It's going to be more accurate than anything firing Elite darts. But that's in the ammo, not the blaster, so if you shoot this blaster with Elite darts, it's still going to spew everywhere. I did a rather elaborate dart comparison. Check that out for more details on that. Put this blaster up in my chronograph, and I got an average of 66 feet per second with the included Accustrike darts. And I also put up Nerf Elite darts for more comparison to other blasters in general power, and I got an average of 69 feet per second, which is about what the Elite par right now is, and this is about the same as the other Accustrike blasters. So, overall opinion on the Raptorstrike. As far as appearance goes, 10 out of 10 would bang, or I don't know a Nerf equivalent of that. 10 out of 10 would definitely field in a Nerf battle. And the new bipod is also a nice addition to the bipod line. Again, with attachments and magazines and the little accessories that are compatible with all the Nerf blasters. If it's not your style, don't use it, but it's great to have more options so you can have something for every different occasion. Doesn't come out on its own. Like right now I'm trying to press it, and it requires another hand to pull this out. And I'm not like trying to demand a spring or anything that could be more mechanically complex or increase the assembly cost. So I understand that, but at least add some weight here so it'll fall out on its own. It's kind of like difficult to do it that way. Although if you're actually sniping and you're like prone on the ground, to put it back in, you can use the weight of the blaster and it'll collapse on itself when you like have it rested on a floor like that. Performance is acceptable even though it looks like a Super Elite sniper rifle. You can't really expect like sniper rifle performance that hasn't been done in any of the past like sniper rifle blasters. And the new magazines are pretty cool. I personally don't really like the 6-round. They're just too low capacity and small. But again, another option, and the tactical slant because reasons. But one thing that's honestly like almost a deal breaker, and I imagine a lot of potential buyers will legitimately be turned off with this blaster for the sole reason it does not have a tack rail on the top. It has all this flat space, which is just like perfectly set up for a tack rail. And this blaster is beautifully crafted. Like the designer of it, like the appearance, just did a phenomenal job. I think it just looks gorgeous. And it has a lot of these sharper edges here built in with the nice smooth fillets. So it's not like a Rebel blaster where it's all bubbly and only round, and it's not only like straight lines. But it has enough straight lines that it wouldn't be like artistically a terrible decision to put a flat rail on the top, because this kind of like rounds over. So I don't think they could have said, oh, that would have ruined the appearance of it, because I think it looks awesome. Tack rails generally just make stuff look cooler. So my only conclusion is they're like, hey, this flip-up sight is the bee's knees. You just have to use it. You totally will not need anything else. Think for yourself? Customize your gear? No, man. I'll tell you what to think.
And the man ruined the ozone, and he's burning down the Amazon, and he kidnapped Shamu and put her in a chlorine tank.
And if this iron sight was like the super cool, like best thing ever, like an RMR for a Nerf blaster, fine, but it's not at all. The rear plastic doesn't have that center marker like I mentioned, and it has distortion in the plastic, so I don't think I'll ever keep it up, especially for a Nerf war that lasts longer than 4 hours, because I heard that's unhealthy. And in the end, the Alpha Hawk has a tack rail, and it's like the little brother to this guy. So, I mean, Alpha Hawk would be like, hey, what's up, big bro? You don't have a rail, do you? Dork. It's a freaking sniper rifle without a scope. So here's a still shot of the Raptorstrike in a little bit in Photoshop. Bam. There, I fixed it. There you go, Hasbro. That is, in my opinion, how this blaster should have been manufactured. It might have added like 2 cents to manufacturing cost, I don't know. And I take that back because that's totally a new mold for this little piece of plastic, and the spring mechanism released, like an N-strike rail would be cheaper and easier to assemble, so what the F. Yeah, I'm complaining a lot about one little feature, but you only use a weird looking blaster like that's so long and bulky that has the same performance of a Retaliator, which is just like small, because of its appearance, and you want to feel like a sniper, and snipers have scopes or something. And all this rail space, you could have a rail here, and then another rail over here, and another rail, like you can have way more rails, and even a rail under here. Why you need an angled upward rail? I don't know. Tactics, bro. That's why. This is turning into a rant rather than a review. Trying to disregard my opinion. Objectively, the blaster works fine. It didn't jam or malfunction. The magazine holder in the rear works. The bipod works. Not optimally. Like I mentioned, it's kind of a tricky thing to get the legs out, but no biggie. And firing velocity is pretty close to the Accustrike sort of norm. Can you really call it a norm with just a few blasters yet? It's close enough to the elite norm to be a normal Nerf blaster, so there's no reason not to buy it. Unless you're like me, and you just need a scope on your sniper rifle. So I don't get it, but I think I've spent like 4 minutes of this video whining about it, so if somebody wants to comment and tell me why, leave it in the section. Or if a Hasbro rep is watching, pretty please email me. Like, why? I need more tactics, brah. Like, rails even look cool without stuff on them. I like the rails just because rails look cool. I think that's 3 separate tangents on that topic. That concludes my review. I think I've covered everything. This is a fall 2017 launch, I believe. I'll put a purchase link in the description box below when I get one. But just like the other Nerf reviews I've just released, the Hasbro PR team has sent me these blasters prior to their release, which is awesome. Thanks very much, guys. But they're not on the store shelves quite yet, but I'll link it when I can find a link. That concludes the review of the Raptorstrike. Also, BT Dubs Raptorstrike, when you say it quickly, it's going to sound really similar to the Rapidstrike. Raptorstrike, Rapidstrike. What am I talking about? I don't know. Just to troll new Nerfers, you should totally put them both in the corner. Go grab the Raptorstrike and just like kind of mumble the first part, see which one they grab. Although, Raptorstrike, like that's a pretty cool name. Raptorstrike. Next up, T-Rex Strike. Bulbasaur. I only know like 3 dinosaurs. I'll just stop now. Bulbasaur is a Pokemon, not even a real dino. Damn it. Can't think of any other dinosaurs. Just end the video before you say something else stupid. Thanks so much for watching, bros. As always, stay tactical. I'm Frank. This is a video review of the Nerf Accustrike Raptorstrike. Raptorstrike. Stop it, Franklin. Get back to on topic.